The horror.
Well, good morning, guys, and welcome to my ramble for this morning. So, for the first time in, God, 5 years? I need some wake-up juice. Yeah, the first time in 5 years, I am no longer a remote employee. It's kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. Well, this morning we're commuting into the office to see if it's even unlocked, because that's a longer story. From what I've been told, we're supposed to be able to get in, because starting today, we're supposed to be in the office full-time without any exceptions. Allegedly. We'll see. So we'll see how this turns out. I've tried to record a few of these over the years, and some of them turn out okay, some don't. I just wanted to ramble today. I'm in a different mood. I've had a little coffee. I got a breakfast sandwich after I stopped for gas. I'm going in and doing something that I haven't done in over 5 years, which is work in a cubicle office. Now, obviously, we did a little bit last year, because they wanted to butter us up. But that was different. That was very different. To be honest, it was so different that I don't know if it would be quite the same. You see, the whole time I have worked at this company, I have worked remote. I have never been on site. But beyond that, when I first started working, I got a job right out of college. I was lucky in that regard. There was a place that just was mass hiring. They just wanted bodies. They didn't necessarily care. They cared about your GPA, but beyond that, they didn't really care. And so they were just hire. The technicalities you don't really need to know. It was all due to they overhired and the work wasn't there. And so slowly but surely, I wasn't in the favored department. You see, they'd rather keep an engineer over a draftsman, which is what I was at the time. I did a lot of CAD work. I had hopes of becoming a full engineer because that's what I went to college for, but I also liked CAD, so I didn't complain about getting to play in CAD software all day and make pretty looking drawings. When I started here, where I currently work, it was one of those things where, as a contractor, I did work in the office and I commuted daily. I commuted daily for a little over a year, which was longer than they said it should have, but hey. Sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles, as you find out in the real world. The real killer was when they hired me direct, is I got a big bump in pay, actual benefits. I didn't have to cut off my left testicle just to pay for insurance. But most importantly, they handed me a laptop and said, don't come back until we tell you to. So for the last 4 years, I have been work from home. And it has been some of the most fulfilling time in my life because, I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. As long as you get your work done, you can do whatever the fuck you want at home. If you have a day where you feel sick, you don't feel quite right, you don't need to call in sick. You don't need to waste, people's time. As long as you can hold a conversation Or for the most part, send a few emails, send a few Teams messages, make it look good. And that's all you need to do. Now, I don't know what that means in the overall scheme of things to a lot of people, but to me, that was wonderful. I didn't need to call in sick anymore. I could just, if I wasn't feeling well, I could just muddy my way through a day and not care. If I'm ill, I'm not spreading it to a whole bunch of people. It's great. Yeah, honestly, I didn't think it was that big a deal for the longest time, but I really enjoyed it. I really did. And now I can't have that. So it was an edict put out many months ago, and I may have vaguely talked about it on the channel, that in order to create better cooperation, teamwork, and efficiency, that we were going to go back to a in-person environment, and that in-person environment would not necessarily be segregated by department. So even though you work with 2 other individuals in the same department, you may not sit near them. So you'll have to walk through and wade through people to go find your coworkers. And it's so you could strike up conversations with people you'd never interact with before. Yeah, our HR manager needs to touch grass. But hey, I guess that's her job, not mine. No, the kick of it is that we're going to go through all this. Now, there was some rearranging, there was complaints, and what they ended up doing was compromising a little bit, and they did rearrange some departments. So I'm at least sat with the people I work with on a day-to-day basis. But my office space is ass. Now, I don't have a good way to take photos and not end up in HR. It's my privacy. You should respect that. People dox themselves, and it's like you should be able to give them privacy. So even those people that do know where I live, you also know that if you're not invited, don't come here. You know, that's just the polite thing to do and the right thing to do. So side tangent over. Back to the main topic. So now I don't have high hopes today because a little birdie told me, so they did some furloughs at the office. And effectively those furloughs are the majority of the people that work in the office that I'm in. I'm a different department. That is important to note. He told me the main entrance was locked when he got there and they had to monkey around and find a side entrance. And I can tell you, it may not be the best attitude in the world. However, my coworkers and I have decided that regardless of the situation, we were told to use the main entrance. If for whatever reason I show up today and that entrance is locked, I'm going home. And I'm going to do that every single day until they unlock it. Now you may ask yourself, well, that seems pretty bullish. Nobody here wants to work in the office. We've worked from home for 4 years. We've done a fantastic job. Almost 5 years. Some of them 5 or 6 years. We've done a fantastic job at home. Our efficiencies are great. We've worked great as a team. You need somebody, you message them on Teams. It's more effective than, walking up to them. Now, do I miss the camaraderie some days? Yeah. Even discussing it with people, we all agreed that we would be okay with a hybrid approach. Come in 2 or 3 days a week, stay home 2 or 3 days a week. You'd be good with that. I think it's a nice compromise. I even interviewed somewhere where they did 1 day a week. They did Fridays at home. And you know what? I actually told the lady I respect that. I said a lot of companies are trying to eliminate remote work entirely, and I think that's a massive mistake. Because there needs to be that kind of flexibility in the 21st century. We have the technology. AI may be destroying everything. It doesn't have to be that way. Even where I'm at in engineering, they are totally trying to make us use AI and make us do all this stuff. And look, even the underpaid people that we have from the contracting group, They don't do the best job every day, but you know what? There are days they do a pretty all right job, and I appreciate them. They are just muscle, but sometimes you just need muscle. You don't necessarily need brains. I don't know. I think I'm going to wrap it up here, and we're going to see if I can even get into the office today. And if I can, you'll see that part. If not, well, you'll see that too, because I'll have a rant on the way home, because I have nowhere else I can work unless I just pick up a coffee shop or something. So hopefully I can get in and this isn't going to be a whole fiasco. But you know what? We'll see, because it's the company I work for and they half-ass everything.
And we're back to where we started today. So, learning to deal with going back to the office as a remote employee of 5 years. And I don't know how much I will do this kind of rambly content, but I will from time to time, kind of check in mentally and talk about things. I hope pretty soon here, as I get used to going back to the office, that I'll be able to return to fairly normal techie content. But in the meantime, I hope you all take care, and I have a beer to go have, so I'll catch y'all later.